Shang Tsung wins.
Yo, what is up guys, it's Dragonite2427 here. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to complete the Sam version of the Reckoning Easter egg. This is the easy version of the boss fight. This is going to be like the most optimized way that I have found to do it. And this is the easy version. We will not be doing the Richtofen version. I haven't done that one yet. If I do get to it, I'll try to post a guide to the boss fight. The good news about both sides is that it's the same Easter egg steps, so what I'm doing here will also apply to the Richtofen version if that's what you're going for. The only difference is when you get to the end of the Easter egg, it'll give you the option to choose whether you want to fight Richtofen or Sam. Sam is the easy version, Richtofen is much harder, so keep that in mind. Now, the only thing right before we get to it, I'm going to quickly mention is that, as you guys know, the parts kind of spawn in different areas depending on your game, so my locations will not be accurate to what your locations may be. However, I'm going to try to do the best to my ability to showcase all the location spawns that I personally know. And if you don't see a part spawn in your game, like exactly in my video where it spawned on, just keep watching that section of the video, because chances are I'm going to try to show every potential spawn that I know of. And in case you don't see it even after that, just be aware that typically those parts spawn in the same area or same room, same floor, you know? They're typically going to be like in a corner next to a shelf, or they're just going to be like on a shelf or something like that. That's typically how it is. There are like one or two parts that do not really follow this rule. They're all over the map, but I will be sure to mention this if that is the case. And if you aren't sure what weapon to bring during the boss fight or Easter egg, I highly recommend bringing the Maelstrom shotgun, as that weapon is really broken this season. The thing I want to recommend for that is go for rapid fire attachment and the hip fire accuracy, anything like that. That's what you want to run for it. And as usual, I recommend bringing in the stim shots. And for lethal, I mean you can run whatever for that. I personally run Molotov, and Ether Shroud is going to be your friend for the boss fight. I highly recommend you want to bring that in. Now, if you do want like the more damage optimized build, Frenzied Guard is also pretty good, but if it is your first time doing it, I just recommend bringing in Ether Shroud. Now, there is a weapon better than the Maelstrom right now. It's the DMR. That one just deletes everything. I don't know the build for it since I'm not really using it, but I'm being told that just kind of deletes everything and does a bunch of damage to bosses for both Richtofen and Sam. So, yeah. So the first thing you want to do as soon as you load into the map is you want to head to the right side and look for this yellow bucket that has a mop in it. What you want to do here is you want to melee it exactly how I'm doing so, and basically put it under the sprinkler system that's on top. This is going to save you a lot of time later on, because this Easter egg step is pretty annoying with RNG, and what we're doing right here is we're just basically getting rid of that RNG completely, so we don't need to worry about this once we do this right now. Once you do this, don't worry about it. We'll come back to it later, because the way it works is we don't know if it's round by round or if there's like a certain variable that it uses to trigger it, but basically the sprinkler system needs to fill up this mop bucket, and it only does it randomly under a specific round. Now, there is a way to kind of manipulate the RNG, and what you do is basically you cause fire to go into the smoke systems of certain rooms, but we don't know all the locations of all the rooms that you can do this in. We only know this for the Tower 2, I believe, and I think one of the floors on Tower 1, but that's about it. So for now, just do this. It's way easier. You can get this done as soon as you start the game. Super easy. Just do this and you're pretty much done for now. The next thing we need to do is buy the elevator that takes us to the Mutant Research Lab. This is on the right hand side of the spawn room. The reason we're doing this is because there's a part that we can immediately pick up as soon as we head in there, and that'll save us a lot of time. The part in question is on a computer that's got like a lime looking light on it, and there's a mangler that's in a blue glowy tank right next to it. Just hold your interact key or interact button as I'm doing so in the video, and it'll pick up a syringe. Just hold on to that syringe. We'll get to it when we need to use it. From the Mutant Research Lab, take the jump pad to the Tower 2 Android Assembly Room. And here we're going to be looking for 2 robot legs. This is going to be used to build RoboClaus. These are one of the steps that has multiple spawn points for the parts, so just kind of try to copy what I'm doing, and I'm going to try to show you the best to my knowledge where each part can spawn in, because, you know, each part has 3 spawn points. If for whatever reason you don't see the part spawning in your game and you checked everything like I did, just keep in mind it's in the same room. So these legs tend to spawn in corners, on top of a shelf, under a shelf, or like right next to like a wall. You know, they're just kind of like chilling there, you know. Just pick that up. There's 2 pieces we need to find, the left leg and the right leg. Pick both of them up and you're done for this room. So by now in your game, you are probably about to enter your first Klaus round. These are the rounds where you have to fight the Klaus robots and get the max ammo at the end of the round. What you need to do here is focus fire on one of their arm joints, albeit the left arm or the right arm. When you do so, there's a high probability chance that that arm piece will drop on the ground as interactable loot. You need to pick that item up and hold on to it. Now keep in mind, you cannot collect both arm pieces in the same Klaus round. So for example, if I go and shoot the left arm and I pick it up, now I can't get the right arm in the same round. I have to wait until the next Klaus round, which could be round 10, 15, so on. Another thing you need to be aware of is you need to remember which arm you shot off and picked up. The reason you want to do this is because if you shoot off the left arm and then you wait until the next Klaus round and you shoot the left arm again, it's not going to drop apart. So a lot of people are kind of getting confused on that section. Just keep that in mind. An easy way of knowing which arm you shot is you can open up your inventory, and right there on the top you'll see which arm and leg you picked up. So that's an easy way of knowing it. But pick both arm pieces up and just hold on to that, and I'll tell you what to do with them. Once you've made your way to sub-level 10, which is the Pack-a-Punch room, you just need to follow the on-screen prompts to turn on the Pack-a-Punch. This includes turning on the reactor and shooting the 4 sets of ether crystals that are all over the room. Once you do that, Pack-a-Punch is now available. But before you leave this room, there's one thing we need to do here first. You're going to notice that there's a body just floating on top of the reactor beam. What you need to do is you need to jump into one end of the beam, and you'll notice you turn into like a blue glowy ball. You can control which way you're moving from left or right with your control stick. What you need to do is, as the ball, you need to bump into the body to knock it off of the beam. Once you notice the body has landed on the ground, what you need to do then is use the syringe on the body. And you just do that by holding your interact key or interact button. And that'll pick up another item called the refilled syringe or something like that. Just follow as I'm doing on the screen, and that's this step complete. Once you have the refilled syringe in your inventory, head back down to the mutant research lab and place it back where we originally found it, which was on the computer with the lime light on it. When you do this, you'll notice that the mangler to the left of you, which is in the cryogenics chamber, is going to step out. He's going to be monologuing a bit, and you're going to notice some conversations happening. All you need to do is kind of wait a little bit. It takes like 30 seconds to a minute for it to be over. Once that is done, you're going to notice that the mangler turns into an HVT or a mini-boss. Just basically kill him. That's all you need to do here. When you kill him, he'll drop a Fowler Mutant Injector. Pick that up and just hold on to it for now. Now, for this mini-boss, I highly recommend you bring a Pack-a-Punch weapon. Albeit the Maelstrom, DMR, whatever. Bring it Pack-a-Punched. Because the mini-boss, he's not like, he doesn't do a lot of damage to you, but he just has a lot of health, so he's just super tanky. So I highly recommend you bring a Pack-a-Punch weapon. Also, another thing you need to keep in mind is that once you kill him, a bunch of mini bosses are going to spawn around the room that you're in. So these are going to be the Ether Disciples, the green glowy guys from Shattered Veil. Just take them all out, and you're good for now. Also, while we're still in the mutant research lab, we're going to need to keep an eye out on another part. This is going to be a floppy disk looking item. This item drops from a zombie that has a white lab coat, and he tends to spawn on either round 7 or round 9 and above. And he only spawns in this room. When you enter this room, just keep an eye out for this zombie, and once you kill him, just pick up the floppy disk, and you're set for this round. Now keep in mind, this part does not despawn, so if you accidentally take him to another tower and you accidentally kill him there, and you don't know that you killed him there, that part will just drop wherever he died. And that had to happen to me once before. I accidentally took him to the android assembly room without even knowing, and I killed him, and I spent like 20 rounds trying to look for the part in this room without even knowing that I killed him in another tower, and that part does not despawn. So it took me like 20 runs to find it near a jump pad. So if for whatever reason you don't notice that zombie spawning in and you can't find the part, just kind of go around the whole map looking for the part, because you probably did kill him, but you didn't notice where the part dropped. Next, with the Fowler Mutant Injector, head over to the Dark Entity Containment Room and basically follow the path that I'm showing in the video. You're going to see this eye scanning machine. Hold interact on that, and while it's scanning you, press down on the D-pad to pop your Mutant Injector. And basically you're going to turn into a mangler, and it's going to be scanning you. Once it says scan complete, it's going to open a secret room that shows a portal in it. And that's it for now. You do not need to go inside the room or access the portal. That's it. You just need to open it up and you're good to go. Now in the mutant research test area, the next item we need to pick up is the DNA vial. This DNA vial can be found in a safe in a room right next to the PhD slider perk. Just hold interact on the safe, on the wall as I'm showing in the video, and then just pick it up. That's it. Now for this part of the Easter egg, we need to get started on building the wonder weapon, the Gorgafix. So the first thing we need to do is back at the mutant research lab, we need to look for 2 glitchy computer screens that are just like flashing words at you. The first one is right next to the Deadshot Daiquiri perk. The second one is in one of the little rooms that I'll be showing in the video. And what you need to do is just read the word that it's telling you and keep an eye on it. Because that word, what you need to do is you need to reference it with the periodic table. So for example, let's say on my first computer screen, which is right next to Deadshot, I get the word Requiem, or sorry, not Requiem. Let's say I get fast, like just the word fast. What you would do is take a note of the first letter in that word, in my case, F. And then I go to my second computer screen and it says electric. So in my case, that would be E. So my two words are now FE. You then need to go to a periodic table that's either in the game because there's a bulletin board for it, or you can look it up online, which is what I normally do. Find the FE, which the element for that is iron. What you need to do then is look for the atomic number of your element and add a 0 in front of it of whatever your atomic number is. So let's say, for example, it's not going to be this, but let's say, for example, my atomic element for Fe would be 48, right? My code would be 048. So then you would just need to go upstairs to where I'm showing you in the video and input that code and the number keypad to unlock a secret room. Now, before you continue, just keep in mind that sometimes in your game, you may find a computer that isn't glitching at all. This is typically the second computer because the first code is always next to Deadshot. So the second computer that's in the smaller room may not have a word at all. If that happens, just only focus on the first computer because chances are you got a single element like H or O, like hydrogen or oxygen. If that happens, just kind of repeat the step I showed you guys previously. Just copy the atomic number, and if you do get like a single digit atomic number, I believe people say just add a second 0 on top of the already 0. So you'd get like 005 or something like that. And that'd be your code. But just input that code into the keypad and that unlocks the secret room and we can begin the next step. So once you're in the secret room, you're going to notice a plant pod looking machine in the middle of the room. Just hold interact as I'm doing in the video and this will begin the next step of the Easter egg. What you need to do now here is injure, not kill, 3 vermin and 3 zombies in that order. You don't need to worry about the order being like super specific about like messing up. It saves your progress. It'll first count the vermin that you melee, and then after that it'll start collecting zombies. When you melee one of these vermin, which are the spiders, or the zombies, you're going to notice that they're going to get like pulled in one at a time, and it's going to be like a soul box. Just melee the 3 vermin, which is how I normally do it. I'm melee. It's way easier to do it that way. But you can also just shoot, as long as it doesn't like kill them in one hit, you know. So pack-a-punch weapons are probably not a good idea. But once you injure these 3 vermin and then these 3 zombies, you're going to notice that the plant is like glowing green completely. And once you do that, you just hold interact to pick it back up, and that's this step done. Now for this step, I just kind of highly recommend you just have either quick revive, juggernaut, or both, because it's kind of hectic in here. It's not a super big room. You're going to get swiped a lot as you run around and train. So once you filled up your soul box, you now need to descend to the supercomputing room. This is going to be like the purpley room where Melee Macchiato is in. And from there, just kind of follow the path I'm going. And you're going to notice there's these like 3 glowing trees. What you need to do is just stand under it and let this like meter charge up. Now when you're doing this, you can't really reload. So you have to like kind of like defend it. Now you can move away from it and you'll notice the meter goes away, right? But don't worry, it doesn't reset. It saves whatever you left it at. So all you gotta do is just stand under it, let the meter completely charge up, and repeat 2 more times. Now, as always, just kind of like keep an eye on your ammo and make sure you don't get swarmed because you can't really run and you can't reload. Now, there is a trick to kind of avoid that. One trick you can do is to like hold R1 to pull out the grenade, and then while you're under the tree, you just like swap back to whatever gun you were using, and then it lets you reload while still filling up the bar. But just do this a total of 3 times. And then once you're done, the next step can begin. Alright, so once you got all your meters filled up, just head over to the Dark Entity Containment Room. And this is where we're going to need to pay attention because I'm going to be doing 2 steps here at the same time. That way it saves us a lot of time. So that way we don't have to wait for one of those Mecha Klaus guys to spawn in later on in round 16. We can just do this right now. So what we're going to do is you're going to notice there's going to be like 4 PCs that says Power Surge detected on them. And you can just look at my screen to see what I'm doing. What you need to do is you need to hold interact on that screen. Doesn't matter which one because there's 4 in total. And what you didn't need to do is start like a timer. You need to run around the whole room and hit interact on the remaining 3 screens that you haven't messed with. Now you gotta kind of be quick about this because if time runs out, you have to do it again. So if you fail, don't worry about waiting to next round or anything like that. You can just do it immediately again. But hold square or hold interact on the first screen, and then just kind of go in a circle as I'm doing in the video. Hold interact on the remaining 3, and once you do that, it's gonna spawn a like HVT version of a Mecha Klaus. So it's gonna be a little bit stronger. It's not like all too different from the regular ones. It's just like a little bit of a buffed up version with extra health, which is what I prefer. That way you don't accidentally kill him. Now that the Mecha Klaus has been spawned in, what you need to do now is run over down to Android Assembly, so take the elevator down and follow the path I'm showing in the video. And what you now need to do is, if you haven't built Mecha Klaus already, or Robo Klaus as I like to call him, you just go ahead and like build him with all the robot parts you collected, and he only needs one more thing. He needs to be charged up with electricity from a projectile beam of the HVT Klaus that we have spawned in. Now normally you would have to wait until round 16, 15 for one to spawn in normally, but we can spawn him in early with the previous step we just did. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So what you need to do here is, I highly recommend just kind of getting him in your visual line of sight and stand right next to the buildable Klaus that you built. That way he does the ranged attack that you want. Because if he's too close to you, instead he's just going to try to punch you. But let him attack you with the ranged attack, and if the attack connects to the buildable Klaus, you'll notice that Klaus has now been powered on. And if you see his eyes like glow red or glow green, I forget what color they are. Basically, if you see him like turn on and start talking, you did this step correctly. Good job. Once Klaus has been powered on, we can now run back up to the elevator to the Dark Entity Containment Room. From here, we can now damage the other Klaus that we spawned in. Now make sure you do not kill him, because we need him alive. What you need to do here instead is you need to shoot off his 2 shoulder pads. And make sure you shoot him off completely, because this is a step that people are getting wrong a lot. So what people are doing is they're shooting off their shoulder pad, but they think they shot it off. But the thing about it is that their shoulder is still kind of glowing. And so if you see kind of like a little tint of blue on his shoulder, that means he still has a shoulder pad on him. So make sure you shot it off completely. Once both of them are shot off, you just guide him over to this platform that I'm showing in the video. And when he steps on it, he'll like despawn and then like transmorph into the Forsaken, which is a mini boss. What you need to do here is just kill the Forsaken. And an easy way to do this is, there's an insta-kill power-up in the corner next to a window that I'm going to be showing in the video, and that'll make the fight way easier, because on its own, the Forsaken is kind of beefy. His attacks aren't any stronger, he just has a lot of health. So, pop that insta-kill with either the Gobblegum or the free power-up that I'm showing, melt him, and once you defeat the Mecha form and then his little Robo form, you'll notice like a red light spawn where he died. All you need to do here is interact with that light, and boom, you have the Wonder Weapon, the Gorgafex. So now we're going to be upgrading it. Now, the Wonder Weapon has 2 different upgrade quests that you can do. You can either do the Panos version or the Blanchard version, which is, the bad or good version. Now, depending on which one you do, you get a different version of the Wonder Weapon. And keep in mind, the Panos version quest is way harder than the Blanchard version. The Blanchard version is way easier, so we're going to be doing that. And the Wonder Weapon version is just as good too, which is the blue ethereal version. The one you get for doing Panos is like a green toxic version of the Gorgafex. I don't think it's that good, honestly. It doesn't seem that worth it, but we're going to be doing the Blanchard quest because it's way easier and it's just as good. So the first thing you need to do is you need to head over to the Executive Suite, which is at the top of Tower 1, which is where Jug is. Just follow the path I'm doing, and you're going to go head over to Blanchard's office, hold interact on the door, and he's going to start talking for a little bit. Once he's done talking, you just head down all the way to the spawn room where you were in, and I'll tell you what the next step is. So once you're back at spawn, you're gonna head over to the room where there's like a red teleporter, and you're gonna see like all these like CCTV screens, I guess, where you're gonna notice on that desk there's gonna be like a red button that's opened up. You're gonna hold interact on this button, and this pretty much locks you into the Blanchard quest. So if you were planning on like changing your mind, now's your time to like kind of change your mind, because once you hit that button, you can't switch over to the Panos quest. You're locked into Blanchard's side. So once you hit interact on the red button, what's going to happen now is you're going to see like a robot Klaus that's like an NPC spawn in the middle of the spawn room. What you need to do is just defend him from the purple light zombies until he like messes with the computers and stuff like that. It's a little bit tricky because the Robo Klaus doesn't have a whole lot of health, and he tends to die on me kind of quickly, so make sure that you do this on a round where you've kind of cleared up the most of the horde, and that way you can keep an eye on the purple light zombies. Obviously, Pack-a-Punch weapon is pretty good. That way you can kill them super fast. But once the meter that's on the left side like fills up completely, Klaus is going to self-destruct. And you're going to notice that the elevator that goes up to the quantum computing room is now glowing red. So once RoboClass has finished shutting down the elevator to quantum computing, what you need to do now is just reboot the elevator. To do this, you need to make your way over to quantum computing through a different route. Just follow the way I'm going in the video, and once you're in that room, what you now need to do is just jump into the elevator and pull open your parachute. And you're going to start gliding down the elevator, and what you need to do now is you're going to notice 3 red buttons on the walls of the elevator. They're always in the same spot, and they just glow red. But what you need to do is just kind of like spam interact on those 3 red buttons. When you do it, you're going to notice that the button turns the color from red to green. If you see that, that means you did it right. So you just need to do that a total of 3 times. It's not hard, pretty simple. Just do it and a total of 3 times. Once you do it on the last one, you'll notice that the elevator will be rebooted and it'll turn from red back to blue, and you can use the elevator again completely. Once the elevator to quantum computing has been rebooted, just take the elevator normally and you'll notice an electric ball just floating right outside of the room where you were just in. What you need to do now is just kind of like move back and forth under that electric ball to trigger the next step, because it's a little bit weird about how it triggers. But if you do it right, you'll notice that the electric ball starts to move across the quantum computing room, and it's going to start spawning in electric zombies. What you need to do now is pretty simple. Pull out your wonder weapon and kill the electric zombies. I think you need to kill like a total of 5 or 7 zombies. But once you do it, you'll notice that Panos just starts to spawn in the middle of the room right next to the quantum computer. He's going to start going on with a bit of monologue, like story related stuff, so just wait a bit for that. But once that is over, you can just hold interact right in front of him, and the game will take away your wonder weapon for a little bit, and the wonder weapon will suck Panos into the gun, and it'll evolve it. And then from there, you can pick the new wonder weapon back up again, and it'll be upgraded, which is nice. And now you can pack-a-punch it, which is also nice, so it's a bonus. While we're still in the quantum computing room, what you're going to need to do now is, if you don't have Melee Macchiato yet, go ahead and buy it, because you're going to need it for this next step. So once you have it, just head over to where I'm at in the game, and you're going to need to melee this machine, and it's going to open up like a hatch, and you're going to notice a purple like brain looking thing that's in it. Now, what you need to do here is hold interact on it, and you're going to need to run all the way to the secret portal that we opened up a little bit at the beginning of the Easter egg, and just kind of like follow the path I'm going in the video. It's the fastest way to do it. PhD and stamina helps a lot here, especially if you have PhD slider. Just make your way there as fast as you can, because you're going to notice that as you're running and time goes on, the brain starts to like deteriorate and get smaller and smaller. If it deteriorates all the way, I believe you have to wait until next run to do the step again. But once you make your way to the secret room, you're going to need to place the brain on that like secret container that's right in the room in the corner, as I'm showing in the video. And once you do that, you did the step successfully. Once you place the brain in the container, make your way back to the Android assembly where we built Mecha Klaus. Now normally, when you build him and power him on, you have to wait a round or 2 for him to be completely powered up. But when we were doing other stuff, he's powered up completely now, so we don't have to worry about that. So when you get close to him, he's going to start moving around the room, and he's going to try to go to the elevator. So all you need to do is just escort him, because he doesn't move unless you're next to him. So he's going to take the elevator to the Dark Entity containment room, and once you're there with them, just keep escorting them, and he's going to go under these stairs, and 2 things are going to happen here, depending on your scenario. The first thing you need to do is look around the room. If you see a SAM trial, interact with it. If you don't see a SAM trial, flip it around until one spawns in. If the SAM trial is there, when you interact with it, you're going to notice that RoboClass also interacts with that SAM trial as well. What you need to do now here is you need to just complete the SAM trial, depending on what challenge it gives you. Now, I don't know if you need to complete it with a gold rarity completely, or if you can like at least complete it with like a purple rarity or below. I don't know. I've never like gotten anything lower than that on this Easter egg step. But just complete the SAM trial. Is pretty easy. Typically it's just kill stuff or get critical kills. It's pretty easy. But once you do that, well, the first thing you'll see is that the SAM trial will give you a reward. Typically it's like a free perk, essence. Sometimes it can give you an ether tool, which is nice. But the second thing that'll happen is that Klaus is ready to move again. So just escort him, and this time he'll go upstairs to where the red portal is, and from there it'll take you to the room where we put the purple brain in. And once he's in that room, he's going to interact with the computers, and that's this step complete. Once you finish escorting Klaus to the computer portal room, you'll notice the computer to the far left of him has powered on and will now be requesting a 4-digit code. To get these codes, you will need to find 3 of them in the executive suite. One of them is immediately in the same room that Klaus is in, just right behind them. When you interact with the interact key on the folder, it'll look like a binder. When you interact on that, kind of like a bubble will pop up, and you'll get 2 things: a number and then a date that corresponds with that number. What you need to do is you need to take the numbers that you see from these folders and place them in order from the oldest date to the newest date. So if I get a code that says 2 and then I get a date of January, I know that 2 will go first. If I get a number that says 9 and I get the date of like December, I know that that code will go last. What you need to do is you need to go around the executive suite and find 3 other binders. There are like 5 spawns for these binders. I'll try to show them all in the video. And if you don't see the ones that I'm going around in the video, just kind of go around the executive suite. They will be there. There's one right there, like in the same portal room that I showed you, and then the rest will just be in the executive suite. Just kind of like go around and just hold interact on all the binders that you can see, and you will find them eventually. Once you get all your 4 codes, just place them in order from oldest date to newest date, and then just type them in the computer. And when you've done it successfully, it will say access granted. If you type it in incorrectly, don't worry about it. Just try again. There's no like limits or anything like that. Just keep doing it until you get it right. And one easy way to do this is you can just take pictures, obviously, of the codes that you've found. Another way, I think there's like a website that somebody made that you can just like type in the first 2 dates, and it'll give you the code based on like the dates that you entered, which is pretty nice.
Excellent.
Once you've successfully inputted the security code into the PC, head back to the Pack-a-Punch room, and on the machine you used to turn on the reactor beam, just interact with that thing once more, and you'll notice that the reactor beam will now turn red completely. From here, you'll notice that like blue ether vermin will start spawning in, which are the spiders. What you need to do here is just kill all of them with the Wonder Weapon, the Gorgafix, so you should have it by now. You don't need to have it upgraded or Pack-a-Punch, just need to have it in your inventory. When you pull out the Wonder Weapon, just shoot all of the vermin. I believe there are like 5 or 6 that you need to kill in total. You don't need to worry about killing anything else. Just kill the blue ether vermin and just kind of wait for like time to run out. And once you do it successfully, you'll notice that on the computer you used to activate this Easter egg step, there'll be like a blue orb floating like in midair. What you need to do now is just hold interact on the blue orb and take it back to the computer portal room where Klaus is at, and then just fire a charge shot at the portal to open it up. Once you've shot the crystals on the portal with your Wonder Weapon, head back over to the Mutant Research Lab, and on the floor connecting the Mutant Research Lab to the supercomputing room, you'll notice there's like a hole in the wall. I mean, not a hole in the wall, a hole in the floor that you can jump through the parachute under. You don't need to jump in there just yet. What you need to do is you kind of need to look at an angle the way I'm looking at and do a charge shot with your Wonder Weapon at where I'm aiming at exactly. If you do this successfully, you notice like a blue item will begin to hover and fall off. And from there you can just jump to where it's at and pick it up. And you'll notice you picked up a head. Once you've picked up the head, you just need to take it back to the spawn room and remember the mop bucket we messed with at the beginning of the game. Well, by this point, it should be filled with water. From this point, all you need to do is interact with the mop bucket, and it'll place the head into the mop bucket, and it'll begin rinsing it. And from this point, it'll probably spawn a couple purple-eyed zombies. Just be sure to kill them because it'll charge up the head. And when the head is completely rinsed, you can pick it back up, and you will not be able to run when you have it in your inventory. So what you need to do is you need to take the head all the way from spawn to the computer portal room where Klaus is at. While at the same time, while you have it in your inventory, you need to get as many kills as possible while you take the head to your destination. I think you need to get a total of 30 kills, and it's got to be from the purple-eyed zombies. And you can drop the head at any point, but try to remember where you drop it because it's kind of hard to see the head sometimes. It's kind of small, but you can pick it back up and it'll save however many soul boxes that you filled up with it. So just get like 30 kills around wherever's a good training zone for you, and when it's done, just take it all the way back to where Klaus is at and place it on the portal. Once you've placed the head on the portal, at this point what you need to do is you need to place 4 charged Casimir devices on the podium in front of the portal. To do this, around the whole map you'll find like a bunch of trash can looking things, and inside of them you'll find a Casimir device. When you pick it up, it'll replace your tactical grenade. What you need to do at this point is you need to go around the whole map, and you'll see these like purple floaty glowing items, and these could be furniture, tech pieces, artifacts, whatever. What you need to do is with that Casimir device you picked up is you need to throw your Casimir device at it, and it'll capture whatever object that was there. And you need to do this 4 times total. And once you capture one, you just hold interact to pick up the Casimir device, and it'll be charged. So you need to do this total of 4 times. Follow the path that I'm doing in the video because there's one Casimir device per floor, but this is the best way I like to do it. Once you get all 4 of them, you just need to go back to the portal room where Klaus is at and place the 4 charged Casimir devices on the podium, and that'll be this step done. And lastly, for the last step of the Easter egg, what you need to do now is once you place the 4 charged Casimir devices on the podium, it'll begin a lockdown sequence. So you'll notice that as soon as you place those things on the podium, I don't think you can leave the room. It's a lockdown step. But what you need to do now is it'll start spawning a bunch of zombies around you, and you don't need to kill them necessarily, but it's a good idea to do so they can stay out of your way. A bunch of Robo Klauses will start spawning in, and you need to take care of them too, or else they'll swarm you. But what'll happen is every couple of seconds, you start hearing like a beeping sound. And just follow as I'm doing in the gameplay here, and you'll notice one of those levers, like the power switches, because there's a total of 4 of them. One by one, they will turn on with a red light. You need to go to them, the ones that are turned red, and you need to hold interact on them, and they'll turn green. You need to do this a total of 3 times if you're playing solo. If you're playing quads or like duos, that's a party. You need to do this with all of them. So there's a total of 4 of them. You gotta do it with all of them if you're playing in a party. If you're doing it by yourself, you'll need to do this 3 times. So it's way easier if you do it solo. So once you flip the switch, you have to wait a bit, kill a few zombies, you heal another beep, and repeat. Once you do this successfully, your screen will flash white, and all of the zombies will despawn, and from this point, the portal to the boss fight will be fully opened up. So at this point, you have basically completed all the basic steps of the Easter egg, and you should have whatever guns you really want to take to the boss fight. I recommend all, like Pack-a-Punch Tier 3, Gold Rarity, all perks, and really basically whatever kill streak, whatever you want to run for the boss fight. Typically for the Sam boss fight, because that's what we're doing, what I recommend running is the Death Machine, because that'll be the best one. Chopper Gunner isn't really too effective, and she can knock it out of the sky. So can Richtofen, but Chopper Gunner is less useful for Sam than it is for Richtofen, so I recommend the Death Machine. So once you're ready to start the boss fight, hold interact on the portal, and it'll take you to the Tower 3. And from there, you'll notice like the Sentinel artifact in the middle of the room. When you interact with it, it'll ask you which side to pick. Since we're doing the Sam version of the boss fight, we're going to choose to side with Richtofen, so you want to press up on the D-pad. From there, you'll notice the elevator will start moving up slowly, and it'll be like 2 phases to the boss fight, because the boss fight doesn't really start until you do these 2 steps first. The first step, what you need to do is you'll notice like an aisle, like a corridor. There are 3 crystal devices around the corridor. You need to charge all 3 of them up with zombie souls. It's a soul box. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. For this part, you just really just kind of stand near it and just get as many kills as possible. And once you charge one of them up, move on to the next one. I think it's like maybe 10 kills to fully charge a crystal. So probably you need like around 30 kills in total to complete this. It's not hard. Just do as I'm doing in the video. And once you're done, you're ready for the next part.
And you call me a child?
Once you finish charging up all the crystals in the room, you can head back to the elevator and you will start going up again. When the elevator stops a second time, you'll notice another room. This time this room will have purple crystals all over the ceiling and the walls. Some of those crystals will have flowing electricity through them like wires, and some of them won't. What you need to do is you need to shoot the purple ether crystals that aren't shooting electricity along the walls, because they're basically blocking the pathway. There's a total of I think 5 of them. Just go around the whole room and shoot all of them. Now keep in mind you will be kind of swarmed by zombies and Klauses, so clear a path, and once you do all of them, head back over to the elevator and the true boss fight will begin. So once you reach Sam in the boss fight, one thing to keep in mind is that she will be invincible for most of the boss fight. So when you enter that boss fight, you'll notice she'll have like a purple orb force field glowing around her. When you see that, she's invincible. So the main way we're going to do damage to her is we're going to have to wait for her to do a specific attack that exposes critical weak points that we can then shoot to deplete her health. One of these attacks will be a red beam attack. When she does this, she will look down and just shoot like a red continuous beam slowly towards you. What you want to do is you want to get behind like tall cover, like behind one of the 4 pillars that are on the map. And be sure not to get hit by zombies while you're doing this. And once that red beam is gone, you'll notice that there will be like 4 dots around her, and those are her weak points, and they're critical points. What you need to do is you need to shoot all 4 of those red points, and don't worry if you can't get all of them because they save. So when she does that move again, you'll see them again. But you need to shoot all 4 of those weak points, and when you do eventually shoot all 4 of them off, her eye, which is like the middle portion of her body, will start to glow red, and this is a huge crit zone for a little bit. So when you see that, that's your moment to just go all in on all the attacks that you can. And Death Mission is pretty good for this, but mainly Maelstrom and DM10 are pretty good too. When she's invincible again, another attack she will try to do is she'll try to do like a, just kind of like a snipe beam attack. It's a pretty basic attack. She'll just shoot 3 beams at you, and it's nothing like too crazy, but she won't lose invincibility after she does this attack. It's kind of an annoying attack because you just have to keep sliding and trying to get out of the way while she does this. The other attack she will try to do is it'll be like a Beyblade attack where she hovers over you and just starts dropping ether bombs all over you. When she does this attack, you can actually shoot under her and she'll be weak, but it won't be a crit zone. It'll just be regular damage. Once you knock her down to 1/4 of her health, or sorry, when you knock down 1/4 of her health, you will complete a phase of the boss fight. So once one phase of the boss fight is over, she will go up into the sky and teleport out of there. She will then spawn a max ammo and spawn a SAM trial, which you have to do. For this SAM trial, it could be anything. Kill zombies quick, kill zombies in a zone, get crit kills, get equipment kills. It can be any of that. For this, you absolutely must get a legendary rarity completion, or else she will apply a weapon grief to you and your team, which means that your weapon will deal less damage for 30 seconds. I believe it's 30 or 60 seconds. But you absolutely must complete it with a gold rarity completion. If you do this successfully, she will return back and the boss fight will continue again, except that this time some of her moves will be slightly different. Like for example, her beam attack, she'll shoot 1 or 2 extra shots. Her Beyblade attack, she'll start to move in a direction, like a straight line or diagonally, depending on how she does it. It's kind of RNG based, so she won't stand still anymore. And then for her red beam attack, I believe that one is the same. That one doesn't really change throughout the fight. But that's all you really need to know there. When you take down another 1/4 of her health, she will disappear again and she will repeat another SAM trial, and you have to do this again. When she comes back for her final phase, again do the same thing you were doing, and her attacks will be the same, except that they'll be a little bit stronger yet again. This time her beam attack, the one she does where she just snipes you, that one will shoot I think up to 4 times. She'll kind of go crazy. She'll kind of spam that at you a bit. And then the Beyblade attack is the one you really need to watch out for, because this time she'll move in a circle around the arena. So you have to be extra careful where you're stepping, because she'll try to cover the whole map in mines. And then like I said, the red laser attack will be the same. Just repeat what you're doing. Death Mission is super useful, and if you've done this successfully, you'll knock down her health in no time, and boom, you would have completed the boss fight. Now, before I sign off here, one thing you gotta keep in mind is depending on which boss fight you complete, you get the same calling card no matter what. So if you do the Richtofen version or the Sam version, you get the same calling card, so you don't need to worry about missing out on anything. So if you made it this far, congratulations, you've completed the Reckoning Easter egg, and let me know if this guide has been helpful. This has been DragonEye. Peace.
Welcome to the party.